Happy Tuesday, everyone. What is going on with our justice system? How is it possible someone can just commit a heinous crime and get away with it? And you're wondering, what are you talking about, Cheryl? Well, I'm going to give you breaking news story of Bryan Kohberger and how he took a plea deal. So, welcome back, everyone, to That's It. So, I don't understand how a person could commit this brutal murder and the prosecution just offered this man, Bryan Kohberger, a deal. And he accepted the deal, obviously, because he don't want to, get the lethal injection. He don't want to die. So instead, he just going to spend the rest of his life in prison because he took this plea deal. And I just don't understand why the prosecution would do that. And I just want to be very transparent with you guys. I have not followed the case. I have heard the case. I heard what happened. I watched a series, not a series, but an episode of Dateline. That Dateline was following the case. And this man obviously was guilty. He knew what he was doing. He went, took four beautiful souls away and brutally stabbed them to death. And one, Kaylee, you know, fought for her life until he took her last dying breath. And I just don't understand why the prosecutors will just offer him a deal. Why they can't fight this in court? They have enough evidence that's stacked against this man. The murder weapon, the DNA on the murder weapon, the surveillance camera, him driving back and forth with his car, everything that's just stacked against him. I just don't understand why. And why you're not getting justice for these four amazing souls that is no longer on this earth. You have Maddie, you have Kaylee, you have Ethan, and you have Dana. Hopefully I pronounced her name correctly. These four people are never going to come back. The family of these victims, they lost their loved ones. And now you said that you sent a letter to the family's victims saying that you offer a plea deal. They're outraged. They're pissed, and rightfully so, because you should have spoken to them instead of writing them a letter. You should have, contact them and have them come to your office and tell them this is what's going to happen. This is what it's going to be. They should have a say in this because they lost their child. These families, and for you to just settle a plea deal, which they didn't even want a plea deal. They wanted this man to take the lethal injection and die. They didn't want him to live. Okay, because they're saying why should this man live and be in prison for the rest of his life, get 3 meals a day, have exercise, watch TV, do all these, read books and all that stuff when their children are dead. Their children are never coming back. So why is it that he gets to live and then my children are dead? And we didn't want that. And they made it very clear to the prosecutor, we don't want that. We want him to take the lethal injection. We want him to die. We don't want him to serve life in prison. And I can understand that. I don't have children yet myself, but I can understand that. I can understand where they're coming from. It's just not fair. It's just not right that he can live and he can write a tell-all book. He can, do whatever if he changes his mind, even though this is how it went down. Even though the prosecutor sent the letters to the victim, the suspect, Bryan Kohberger, who is going to accept the deal and plead guilty for all four counts of the murder and sentenced to life sentence in prison without a chance of parole, like I said, and he waived all his rights for any appeals. He can easily change his mind later on. Like, let's say if he served 5 years, he can easily change his mind and try to appeal to be released. And according to the prosecutors and what they're saying, that if he does do that, the death sentence is on the table still. So it doesn't even matter if he's trying to manipulate the system and trying to play games. And if he changes his mind later on that he wants to fight this, they're telling him if you do that, the death sentence is still on the table. So I don't know what type of game he's playing that he took the deal, and all this is happening tomorrow, Wednesday, July 2nd, okay? And I just feel like it's just not fair. I just feel like it's just unjust, It's unjust to the families. And I just can't believe that, the prosecutors would do that. Why they're not fighting for these victims? Why do prosecutors make it so easy? You know what I mean? It's like this is their job. This is what they get paid for. Like every case is not going to be easy. Every case is going to be difficult and hard, but that's what you do. You fight for the victims. You fight for this case. And it's not going to be in a walk in the park. That's what you get paid for. That's what you went to school for. Not to just give up and just offer this psychopath a deal. That makes no sense. And it should and then the parents should not accept this. And I don't know why they did this anyway. And and I just want to show you the victims of these four souls. Like I said again, my heart just breaks. I'm just outraged. I'm just outraged and pissed that they would do that. What else I want to mention? Kohgerger, he's 30 years old, was arrested at the end of 2022, accused of a fatal stabbing in the University of Idaho students in November that year off the campus Moscow home. He will face four first-degree murder charges, and if he's convicted, he will get the death sentence. He didn't want the death sentence, so that's why he, like I said, he took the plead offer. But you know what? They shouldn't even offer it in the first place. It's just ridiculous, and I'm pissed. I know the parents are pissed, and the reason why I said the parents are pissed because they made a statement on social media, and this is what the parents of one of the victims, Gonzalez, hopefully I said it right, and this is what they said in their social media page. It is true. We are beyond furious at the state of Ohio. They failed us. Please give us some time. This was unexpected. We appreciate all your love and support. Now I'm going to read this again. They have failed us. Please give us some time. This was very unexpected. Unexpected. So, did the prosecution send a letter to the victim's family or not? Because it seemed like the family of the Gonzalez, was very surprised. They were not expecting this at all. They probably heard it on the news, just like everyone else, instead of the prosecutors reaching to them directly. Now, I don't know if the prosecutors did reach to them, but that's what they were saying in the reports. But the family is saying something completely different. So obviously it seemed like one of the parents were blindsided by this. They were not expecting this. They're heartbroken. And then they said that they have failed us. And I completely agree with them, 1,000%. Like, how could you do this to the victim's family? How could you just make an offer to this psychopath and not understand where the family's coming from? And then you go to say, oh, we try to spare them because we don't want them to see pictures or this. Honey, they already seen it, okay? They don't, it's total bullshit. You're not trying to spare them. You're trying to spare yourself because you didn't want to do the hard work. You didn't want to put your blood, sweat, and tears, and you didn't want to do the hard work. So spare me the bullshit that you're trying to spare the victim's family, which is utterly a lie, in my opinion. Because it's totally bullshit. Because the family was very transparent with you guys, said they don't care. Okay, they're not accepting any plea deals. They don't want the plea. They want this man dead. Damn it. They want him dead. They want him to have a life sentence. Not life sentence, a death sentence. They don't care about anything else. They were prepared mentally and physically what they were going to expect if it was going to go through trial. And it was supposed to go in trial next month. But apparently, all of a sudden, no, we're not going to go. We're not going to go to trial. We're just going to offer this psychopath a plea deal, and he accepted, and he's going to spend the rest of his natural, disgusting life in prison. When it's a possibility he could be released. It's a possibility. After 10, 20 years, he might write a book. He might do an interview. He might do whatever. And that's what the families are fearful for. Even though he's going to be off the streets, and I get, and the streets in the world will be a safer place, but the victim's family is always going to know that he is in prison, okay? He's still breathing. He's still alive. Their children are dead. They're not alive anymore. They're not going to graduate from college, get married, get a job, start a family, live their life. They're not doing that anymore. Their life stopped on that day in November. And how is that fair? How is that justice? That's unjust. And to me, it's just despicable and it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And every parent, they have every right to feel this way. You know what I mean? And another family, the family victim, they was on board with this. They was on board to go to trial. They know that the trial will take what, at least 3 months. They were aware of this. They were preparing themselves mentally, physically, everything. And for them to just for the prosecutor to slap that on their face like that is just not right. It's just utterly not fair, and it's just cruel to me. It's really it's really cruel. And I know they're trying to like save costs of the trial because it would be totally expensive. But if he was convicted, that he won't get the death penalty right away because that takes time. And then they didn't want to spare the family. If it was a mistrial, then they have to retrial him again and blah blah blah. All this bullshit. Okay, when clearly the man killed these 4 college students. Okay, DNA, don't lie. He had DNA on the knife, and I'm going to show you this knife of the mortar weapon is exactly similar to what I'm showing you right now that you can get on Amazon. Isn't that crazy? Amazon. Okay, DNA was on it. DNA was on this. His DNA was on the sheets and everything. So how's it possible that he's not the suspect? Okay, like I said, surveillance cameras, 911 calls, everything. This was a slam dunk. They had all the evidence stacked against this man, and then this prosecutor just called it quits. Just called it quits. They failed. They fail the victims. They fail their parents. It's just despicable. And I'm just like, I have no words. I have no words. I'm like, what is happening to our justice system? How is it that you have someone who did this heinous act, who murdered 4 people brutally, and you have the death sentence? What is it for then? What is it for then? If you have a person who just did this heinous act, and you have the death sentence, what is it for then? Then you might as well remove the death sentence, the death sentence penalty. You might as well remove it if you're going to let criminals do these heinous acts to other people, and you're not going to apply it to those insane people. Then what's the point of having it? Please make it make sense. What's the point of having it? Because it doesn't make any sense. So basically, this person can commit this heinous crime that he did, and then that's it. He gets to serve life. No, in my opinion, he shouldn't have served life. You take a life, you should die. I'm sorry. And I know I'm not God, I'm not his judge and jury, but I'm sorry. You have no right to take someone's life because you feel like it, because you felt the urge to do it. And if you did that, which he did, he should die. He should take the lethal injection, point blank, period. I don't know why. Especially all the proof is right there. I don't understand that. So that just makes other people who can commit crimes and they feel like they can get away with it because they can take a plea deal. Me, I wouldn't even present a plea deal. I wouldn't even offer it. I wouldn't even put it on the table. Okay, you killed these 4 innocent people while they were sleeping. Okay, when they were helpless, defenseless, and you killed them because you wanted to, and then you can just serve life. How's that fair, you guys? Tell me, how's that fair? It's so unfair, and I'm just so heartbroken for the families, and then I'm definitely going to continue to pray for them. And I can't even imagine what they're going through. I really can't. I'm pissed off. I'm outraged. And you guys should be outraged too, because think about it. What if this was one of your family members, one of your college friends, that happened to them, that they were brutally murdered while they were sleeping? What would you do? And then there was no justice. They offered this maniac a plea deal, which they shouldn't even offer him a plea deal at all. To me, I feel like it's laziness. I feel like they don't want to put in the blood, sweat, and tears. They didn't want to put in the work that made it easy for this guy. Okay, we're going to offer you a deal. And he accepted. And they shouldn't have done that, in my opinion. They shouldn't have done that. They should have just started the trial next month, plead all their case, and then worry about whatever happens, if it's going to be a hung trial or whatever. I feel like when you have all the evidence that's stacked against this man, Bryan, then in my opinion, the jurors would have found him guilty. But you took that away from the victims. You took that away from the families. You took away from the victims, the 4 victims that was dead. You took that away. They won't have a voice, and we will never know what made him do that. He probably might talk later on, and 3 or 4 years later, but we will never know why he did the things that he did that night. Why he went to that house and brutally stabbed these 4 people to death. What motivated him to do that? We will never know. And that was the whole point of this trial, so the parents can have some peace of mind and get answers. Now they're never going to get answers because the prosecutors took that away from them. And that is not fair. Not fair. So I want you to, I have this video of one of the victim's father, Kaylee, father, who did an interview and how outraged and pissed he is about the whole plea deal. And I just want you to listen to his own words, what he has to say. It was very heartbreaking.
Steve, did anybody ever call you from the prosecutor's office to just personally discuss this with you? Did anybody offer to meet with you in person to go over this potential plan?
No. We had this regular meeting that we have to try basically do an update of what's going on, where things are at, because Idaho is actually an amazing state where it really does care about people. We just get one or two, people who just don't care about the victims and don't care about justice. So here we are. We're stuck, and we can't get out of it. If they're not working for us, they're working against us, guys. I mean, we have to wake up to this. I mean, we have to hold people accountable. Coeur d'Alene just had a shooting where we attacked our firemen. People need to stand up to these monsters and stop freaking bowing down to them and giving them child care. I mean, prison is nothing but adult child care. You get free vision, you get free dental, you get free meals, you get AC, room and board, cable TV, internet access. It's ridiculous what we give our prisoners. Better than what we treat our vets. Our vets.
Let me stop him right there. I absolutely agree with him. It's like a motel. It's like a motel or hotel, but you just can't leave. You just have to have. There's rules that you have to abide to, and that's it. But he's absolutely right. The only thing I was shocked about that they get dental. I mean, not dental. They get vision. Shit, I didn't even know that. My gosh, they live in luxury. And this is what's going to happen with Bryan Kohberger. He's going to live a luxury life, and that's just really messed up. That's like a spit on their face.
Coming back from war with missing limbs, this is unacceptable. I want my community support. I want that jury to make the decision, not Thompson, not some old man who's 70 freaking years old deciding how my daughter's life weighs in a courtroom. That is not justice. That is not justice at all. I'll take my juries, I'll take my peers all day long. I'm sick of one man deciding or one woman deciding what a life's worth. We couldn't pick the prosecution. We inherited them. But everywhere we go, we partner with people like you who are relentless and tireless, and they just chase down the truth. And I really appreciate that's what you brought to our case. And when people reach out to me, I'll tell them that this is a network that you can partner with, and understand that they'll be there to the very end.
Okay, I really feel bad for the father. I agree with him 100%. And I can't speak for the other family victims, but he wanted to have the jurors, if there was going to go to trial, let them decide. Why are you taking it away from us? We deserve as parents to get justice for our children that were brutally murdered. And you took it away from us. You took it away from us, and you just didn't give us that opportunity. And I agree with him. And I feel like it's so wrong, it's unjust, and it's just despicable. It really is. And that prosecution, that woman, she shouldn't even practice law. I'm sorry to say, she shouldn't practice law, because that's just despicable. That's just taking the easy way out. You didn't want to do the work. You didn't want to do the hard work. Well, I'm sorry, lady. Things get tough. That's part of life. Shit gets rough out here, okay? But that's part of your job, to fight for justice and fight for these victims that is no longer here to fight for themselves or have that voice. You were supposed to be their voice to fight for them to get justice, and you didn't. And I get it. I understand the other side too. They're trying to spare the family. They're trying to spare money. But you know what? Fuck the money. Who cares? Their family was aware what was going on anyway. The brutal, the attack, the pictures. They're aware of it. They wanted this. They made it very clear to you guys. And obviously I was not in the room, but I was listening to audio interviews and what the parents were saying. They wanted this. They knew what they were getting themselves into. They knew that this was going to be a tough road ahead of them, especially with the trial and listening into everything that was going to be presented during the trial. But that was their decision. They were up for it because they were all together as a family united front with their families, their friends, and their other children too. But again, you took that away from them because you try to spare them, which is utterly bullshit. You try to spare yourself because you didn't want to do the work. Okay? And I call that laziness. And that's all I have to say about that. Now, before I go, you guys, I wanted to give you an update of Diddy. Whoa, gosh, it is getting crazy, okay? The jurors have not deliberated yet, but they did, but it's a partial deliberation. And you're saying partial? Yes, it's partial. And this is what happened. And this is crazy. Maybe tomorrow you might get a verdict answer, guilty or not guilty. But until then, this is what Interpress have said from the jurors. So the judge, you have received a note at 4:05 p.m. today. It reads, you have reached a verdict on count 2, 3, 4, and 5. You are unable to reach a verdict on count 1. Now, count 1 is a RICO charge. That's the big one. That's the big one that will set Diddy to prison for life. Okay? For life, you guys. And just like I said, I predict that if they come up with a verdict, he's going to prison for the rest of his days. Okay, he's 55 years old. He ain't coming out. Okay, so that's what right now that's the tough one. They're saying that on count 1 we have a juror on each side. Should we respond? Then at 4:25 p.m., Sean Combs is sitting surrounded by his 8 lawyers who are talking, and he looked down and his hands was crossed on his lap, and then his hand was on his forehead. He is scared because he's like, what the hell? He is freaking out, you guys, okay? When I say Sean Diddy Combs is freaking out, he is freaking out because the juror already made partial decision. It's just that count 1 they're trying to figure out, and the judge told the jurors, you have to go back and you have to think this through. So now obviously it was 5 o'clock. Everyone has gone home now. I don't know if they're staying in the courtroom to figure out if they're going to make a decision, or they went home and then they're going to come back tomorrow morning 9 a.m. to decide if they're going to make a decision on count 1. This is huge, you guys. This is big. This is, oh gosh, I just have the chill just talking about it because they already reached the decision. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's just count 1 that they're stuck on, okay? And this is getting crazy. This is the nitty-gritty, you guys, okay? Once they come up with a decision of count 1, we will know by tomorrow. If not, then we may have to wait until next week, which is terrifying because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, yeah, I'm like freaking out, you guys, because I'm like, we need to know this. We need to know if he's guilty or not guilty. And Sean Diddy Combs, he is petrified, okay? Like I said, he was looking down, his hands were crossed on his lap, and his hand was on his head, like shaking his head, like he's like, what the fuck? Yeah. I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I'm going to stand by this. I think he's going to be charged with the RICO. But again, we will find out tomorrow or not. The interpretation is just killing me. I know it's killing everyone else because everyone wants to know what's going to happen. Will we know the verdict tomorrow? I think it's a possibility, but again, I'm not 100% sure. But this is the latest update that I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. That's it. I love you guys so much, and I really appreciate you listening in and commenting, liking, posting, sharing, and that's it. So thank you so much for watching. That's it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.